Hey y'all, iRix guy here. Now a lot of you have asked me, they're like, hey man, are you going to get the iPhone X, the iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it? If you're not aware, Apple released during their most recent release event, and it was the first event in the new Steve Jobs Theater at the new Cupertino campus, but they released the iPhone 8 and also the iPhone X. Now the iPhone X, at the time of posting this video, recently became available to order, but a few things you may want to know. Obviously, if you plan to order one, there's probably going to be an extreme delay because of the demand. But should you upgrade to the iPhone X or the iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it? Now, I'm still using the iPhone 7 Plus, and actually, I probably would have stuck with the 6S Plus, except I got water in my headphone jack. And that's the good thing about this phone; it doesn't have a headphone jack. But I got water in the headphone jack, and I went through all the troubleshooting. Couldn't get it to work, so I had to upgrade prematurely. Had I not gotten the iPhone 7 Plus, probably would have gone with the 8. Now, like the 8, because the 8, like the iPhone X, adds wireless charging capabilities. Now, that's kind of cool because if you've got a compatible pad to stick it on, then you don't have to plug in the lightning cable, which brings up an interesting point. One of the reasons I'm not jumping on board with the iPhone X, the iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it, is that it's still got this finicky, I love Apple products, but this finicky lightning style connector, which is a proprietary connector. I don't know why Apple hasn't just switched to USB-C. They've got USB-C in their new MacBook Pros. Why don't they give us USB-C on an iPhone? You know, that's something I would like. So for that reason, the iPhone X, you know, having the lightning port, you know, that's a disappointment. I wanted to see USB-C. Keep in mind also, your iPhone 7, your iPhone 8, they've still got this home button at the bottom that you may have become accustomed to. Now, in the earlier versions of the iPhone, this button, if you pushed it, it would physically depress. Now, if you power off, say you've got an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 8, power that phone off and push the button, and you'll find that it doesn't move. Because in the most recent versions of the iPhone, it's what's called haptic feedback. So it gives you the sensation that you're pushing a physical button, but you're actually not. So that's an improvement. Would I want to do away with the home button? Probably not. I've grown to like the home button. The iPhone 10 does not have a home button, so there's no home button on the iPhone 10. Now the iPhone 10 brings some what I would like to refer to as gimmicky new features to the playing field. It utilizes facial recognition, which I have not tested that. I know a lot of people that have, and they've had very positive things to say about the quality of the iPhone 10's facial recognition, but I've never used it. But you know, so the iPhone 10 are going to be recognizing your face versus a thumbprint. I like the Touch ID. I like the thumbprint idea. I've got it on my iPhone 7 Plus. I've got it on, on my MacBook Pro. So, you know, that's convenient. But one thing about the iPhone 10 that is cool is that you do get more screen real estate, but it's a smaller device. So as far as putting it in your pocket, the iPhone 10 is a lot more portable than, say, an iPhone 7 Plus or an iPhone 8 Plus. So, you know, if size is a concern, if you've grown to like these larger screens, you may be able to utilize the iPhone X and be like, hey, I've got a big screen, but it's not as big to carry. So that's an advantage. The iPhone 10 or iPhone X, whatever you want to call it, again, I've heard it pronounced both ways. You know, a lot of people, they're on board because of the Animojis. It's this new emojis that, you know, it's a cool thing for texting and whatnot, but is that really, you know, if you're getting this phone for business purposes, is being able to send an Animoji or whatever they call it, is that a huge selling point? To me, it's not. You know, again, I love Apple products. I do a ton of photography, I do a ton of videography, and they're great tools. But for me, being someone addicted to video and photography, the iPhone 10 doesn't bring a lot of newness to the table to justify the price. Now, you know, with that being said, it does have, like most iPhones, the camera's better, so it's better camera. It's supposed to be able to have enhanced depth of field and lighting effects. You know, again, I haven't tested that. But if I want to get rock solid photo and video, I'm going to use something like I'm filming this with, you know, a proper full frame camera. So obviously I'm not going to get that kind of performance out of an iPhone. So, you know, from a photo and video perspective, yeah, it'll be nice to have the convenience of a better camera for photo and video in my pocket, but it's definitely not going to replace my professional gear. So it doesn't have USB-C. They took away the home button. It is smaller. Again, smaller to carry, so that's a plus for the iPhone 10. The price tag is significantly higher. You know, I don't want to spend more for a phone. I'm cheap. I don't want to spend more for a phone. So possibly here in a few years when they release the next version of the iPhone X, you know, with such a drastic redesign, even though I love Apple, but with such a drastic redesign, there's probably going to be problems that are discovered. So with that being the case, I'm going to wait until the next version of the iPhone 10. Besides, I got to pay this phone off. You know, I did the phone deal where you buy it and you pay for it for X amount of months, and then you pay it off, and then you get to the latest and greatest. So, you know, I've got quite a bit of life, unless something catastrophic happens to my iPhone 7 Plus. I've got a lot of life out of it. So, you know, that being the case, I'm in no rush to upgrade. But it is kind of cool to see how they've innovated with the iPhone 10. But again, I'm not jumping on board. I'm waiting. You know, there's no business need for me to switch to the iPhone 10. You know, I wouldn't consider it an upgrade. The iPhone 7 Plus does exactly what I need it to do. So, yeah, if I didn't have a phone today and I needed one, I would probably just go with the iPhone 8 Plus because it brings you wireless charging without all the potentially gimmicky new features. You know, that's my professional opinion, but I mean, do what you want to do. You know, I'm not here to convince you to do one thing or the other, but I'm just telling you what I think. And for me, heck, the iPhone 6S was great. I don't have the only advantage that I see to the 7 Plus that I have over the 6S that I had is there's no headphone jack to let water in, because that was a huge flaw with the iPhone. Again, the physical home buttons in the original iPhones, those were prone to fail. I had one of those fail in one of my old model iPhones. The headphone jack, that caused my iPhone 6S Plus to fail. So fortunately, fingers crossed, my iPhone 7 Plus has not failed yet. So I'm hoping that it's one that'll last me until I pay it off in full and then get the new iPhone, whatever it may be. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to watch these commercials and flip on the internet and see people talking about the iPhone X or the iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it, and feel like you're missing out. But again, what are you really missing out on? There's not much. I mean, now if you have an old iPhone, it may be kind of cool because, you know, the 4K 60 frames per second video, that's one thing I don't get with this. I get 4K 30. But 4K 60 from a device that can fit in one's pocket, that's pretty cool. You know, convenient to be able to have that type of video quality in your pocket as needed, because it's not always optimal to carry around professional cameras like I'm filming this video with. So, you know, that's nice to have that on a smartphone. But again, there's just nothing for me that's like, oh man, you know, iPhone's so different now, I'm missing out. You know, my technological experience is several years in the past. I don't feel like I'm in the past. I feel like I'm current with the iPhone 7 Plus. So I don't feel the business need or even the nerd need to upgrade to an iPhone 10. So that's my opinion. You asked for it. Tell me what you think. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It's youtube.com/iRicksGuy, and share this video and any of my videos with others. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, iRicksGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.